All right, so I'm recording a video. I'm gonna take the next setup possible. So, let's see. So, looking at my screen, bam. So, April 30th, right? So that's our next one for backtesting. So we're gonna go to April 30th, and I'm gonna show you guys if there's a trade to take or not according to my setup. So remove drawings from the previous day, and let's press play. We got 4. Okay, that's too much. All right, there we go. That's perfect. 8 o'clock. So what are we looking at here? First of all, let's go ahead and go back to 5 and then go on to 4 hours so we can't see what's happening. Yeah. All right. So nothing there really to see. We don't have a monthly. Those highs are not smacked. Okay, I do see this though. That's a good sign that Dow didn't run the highs like NQ and ES did. Other than that, not much. You can see that high has been ran big time. And then we're in this gap, which is a daily gap, most likely. But I don't want to look at the daily because it's going to show us what the day is going to do. So we can't really cheat too much on it. So 4 a.m., 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops. Wait. 4. Anyway. Bam. Okay, so weekly cycle. No weekly. Down to 15 minutes. No monthly. I mean, no daily. 5 a.m. halfway. Yeah, no daily. Down to 5 minute. We're looking for an AM session, 5 minute. And Q4, Q1. I think so, right? Q4, Q1. Yep, with the Dow. Bam. And that's a PSP at the very high. Perfect. That's actually an insane entry at 715. Holy cow. Above True New York everything. That's 7 bands. Jesus. Anyway, so now we're going to 930. 930 is right there. 1, 2. And that gives us 940. So now we have the 90 minute. So this is a day that we're able to take a trade. And now we can mark it off. So we go 940 low, bam, which is 945 low, and then 930 high, bam. So here we have a range. We're going to assume that we need to pull back into this range. And we're just going to assess that pullback. So there's the high to the low of the range. Now I'm going to throw a fib on there. That's just going to show us halfway, just so we can have like a realistic representation of where we're at. And now next 5 minute candle. All right, so we pulled back into the range on there. Nice, nice, nice. Let's see if we have a microcycle. Micro, no micro. No micro as well here. Okay, so no micro. Did 930 do anything? 930 didn't really have any manipulation. All right, and are we at the halfway point yet? No. So we're going to throw the fib on to the Dow. Now we're halfway in the Dow. Okay. And what are we seeing? 5 minute close in the gap. 940. So are we going to trust this gap? I think this is a paper pencil. I would trust that gap at this point. Now, I would enter earlier here, if I'm being honest. Because if I'm treating this as a 5 minute, I would enter in the 1 minute after that. But yes, especially because I would have entered there. For the sake of the video, we're gonna put it to this right here. But normally I'd have entered here and put my stop loss like in this gap above 0.5 because I don't want to see it pull back more. But anyway, 3RR. Let's see if it hits. We had a 90 minute to confirm that we're allowed to trade, and this is our orb entry pullback into the gap. The only thing that we do not have is we didn't close below. So we're gonna see, should we have closed below or not? So in this case, I'm taking the risk of taking a trade without a closure out of it. Okay, and green. Okay, So here's that green candle. We close below, right? Below, and then we have a green. Now let's see if we're in the gap or something. All right, little gap over here on the tap, and then we don't have a microcycle or anything. So let's see what's happening next. Okay, and we get stopped out. Very nice. Okay, so let's see why we get stopped out. Uh, okay, I guess we're just absolutely cooked. So in this case, it would have been a loss minus 500. So we're just going to go ahead and add that over here, minus 500. And that ends our month at plus 6K with one count. After halfway, I started doing with no SMT and no entry. But this is definitely a case where you enter because of SMT, that was once there, and then you get cooked. But let's see why did it reverse. Let's go on that 4 hour. Okay, so first of all, we dropped 1,000 ticks in the AM session prior. Now the question is, would you still? Oh wait a minute. Let's see the news. Oh, it's NFP. Okay, never mind. That makes complete sense. No, it's not. Employment Cost Index, Advanced GDP, 10 a.m. news. Oh, what the hell? We had 10 a.m.? No wonder we reversed on the dime. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I would take this if we had 10 a.m. news right there. No, I'm putting a 0 for this. I would not take this. No. And absolutely not. There's no way. I did not look at it. I guess nothing today. So we'll just, what is it? We're at 7 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna go through to the next day, and we're gonna check out literally that entire week. This entire week. Look, no trades. We had no SMT on any of them except for the one that you just saw, but we literally turned around without anything. Like, we turned around, obviously, okay, there was logic, but like it wasn't a clear SMT because what we saw was, okay, we went into this gap on ES and Q, and then obviously the news. So then the daily gap, which was super clean, but that's not enough. But you can definitely see, look at that, bam, it's big giant candles. But very late in the day, we don't trade PM. So anyway, again, next day available. We're gonna go ahead and go to, and there is 7 a.m., 8 a.m. Bam. So we just had an expansion the day prior, so we can expect very small range for the day, although it is Thursday, so the possibilities are there. Usually if we have a heavy expansion the day prior, then if we do have expansion on the following day, it's going to be around 10:20. So there is 9:30. And what do we see? Okay, first of all, I see us pull back into this gap, which I love. Bam. And then, okay. Here we go. I think I see a 90 minute with, okay, so 90 minute pre-market at 8:30. One of the best signs you can see. So there's that, and then there's 9:40 close with a pullback. So there's high to low, high to low, high to low. Throw the fib on there, both places. Okay, we're at 50-50, and then we're going to throw the fib on to the Dow as well. All right, 1 minute. We're going to premium on the Dow, discount on these two. And then we have a very small SMT. So let's see what we get. And do we have a daily? Do we have anything at the lows? That was 9:45. Not to, so I don't cheat, I'm gonna put it to this. So this is what we're looking at in the 15-minute. We have a 15-minute PSP with no hidden, no daily SMT. So back to the 5-minute. This is a 5-minute PSP. So we have that. Both of these are PSPs. This one and this one. Yep, both PSPs. So that's pretty powerful in itself. For the sake of today, I'm not gonna treat it though. Like I'm not gonna use that as an entry model. But okay, so we're above. We closed above there. We closed below here, which I like to see that. This is also a microcycle, hidden microcycle. So we like to see that. So if we have a green pullback candle on here, you could consider an entry. And okay, Thursday the 1st, what news did we have? Let's check. Thursday the 1st, we had 10 a.m. Unemployment at 8:30 and 10 a.m. PMI. Okay, so there's 10 a.m. All right, so this is pretty sweet. So by the way, there's no trade up, like still there's no entry because we only have SMT going downwards. So we cannot take a buy here. This is not a buy. So we have, let's see. Now we have micro. Obviously there's a micro. But our high time frame was still bearish. Okay, now we went above there. Bam bam, nothing there. And would that be a setup? All right, let's see. Hit the low there. And next candle. Hit true day. And then higher. Oh, this is that a 90 minute? No, that's maybe a micro. We have a very small micro right here. I mean, it's not small because at the most impactful time with 10 a.m. But for the sake of today, it shouldn't be taken, or for the sake of this back testing. But technically, this micro, with the fact that we had both of these 5-minute PSPs, no, these two 5-minute PSPs, that led to it being swept here and not there. That's valid, but we're not going to be using that. Anyway, wouldn't be surprised if that leads us to just being bullish the rest of the day. All right, and pretty much there's another example of a day that you wouldn't trade again. Unless you obviously take this micro, which if you, okay, here's the rule for taking trades within a range, like let's say range to range. So in this case, you see we took a micro. There's a micro right here, and we have the 5-minute PSPs here to confirm it. So we pulled up, then we drop back down, and your entry, like this is what I have to practice as well. Pretty much in most cases, you're gonna see it pull all the way up, like to at least halfway, and then have a retracement really, really deep without touching the low. Because we have no higher time frame SSMT. So the retracements are literally going to be all the way to the bottom of the candles. You see, like this is all the way to the bottom of here with the news and everything. So if your entry isn't over here with a stop loss here, then you can't even take it. That's why I'm not really backtesting them in this case. So like let's say you take one over here, you put your stop at the bodies, which I would never put at the wick. In this case, no. And then you would need to get your 3RR, usually with the top of the range. Top of the range is guaranteed almost every time if you're in the right direction. So since we're in the right direction, this would be, in my opinion, the only probable entry. Yeah, so pretty much this pullback, right? So 10 o'clock open higher, this pullback. And then if you entered on this pullback, on the 5-minute, your stop would obviously be here. So that would hit your 3. And then if you do hold, your target would be here, so 5. But this isn't you either, in this case, you either don't take the short, because look, this right here, like, what is that? This short right here at the highs. This is a micro setup, right? Actually, is it valid? I really shouldn't be talking about these ones because they're not following orb to the tick. But this is a PSP. Okay, yeah, that was kind of clean. I would definitely take this 5-minute PSP with microcycle with, that's not a PSP, but this right here I think is, no, it's not a PSP either, but I'm in a PSP with a microcycle. But your only possible entry here would be if you entered literally at the very high, or if you entered on this candle retracing back in. So you enter on that candle retracing back in, your stop loss would be body highs, but you get 3R. Barely, but you would get it before 10 a.m., so that's fine. But this is still like, this is how you would take it if you're using the idea of opening range, but you're not using it as a breakout. You're using it for the consolidation purpose. But that setup is still valid because you have a 90-minute at the higher time frame, and then you have a micro to confirm it. But it's just trash. Like, the price action is not good. Anyway, those are two examples. Gonna move on to the next one in a bit.